Buying any car sight unseen is always a risky proposition. Buying a sports car like a Porsche raises the stakes even higher. But I knew what I was doing when I got myself into this, and what I saw when I got the car in my hands was worse than I could possibly imagine. I knew that eventually the time would come that I would have to address the elephant in the room, and that is the interior of this car. For those of you who don't know, this car came from Florida. I rescued it. It had been used as a daily driver and at one point was used for Uber Eats delivery as well. When I finally got it, the interior was not only water soaked because they let the drains of the convertible top clog up, but they let it sit for so long that the interior was rusted and a lot of work needed to be done in order to repair that. Fast forward to 2023 and I've accomplished most of that, and now it's time to address the gray interior and make it more modern. My idea is pretty simple. I want to dye the lower parts of the door cards and the rear cards, the carpet only, to a black to match the donor carpet that I found from a junkyard that I've already installed. So let's pick it up from there. I've already taken the door cards out and I've already cleaned them. Now it's time to separate the carpeting from the vinyl on the rear and start testing out dyeing techniques. Let's fix it. All right, as part of the interior refresh, I'm going to be dyeing this dirty gray to black. In order to do that cleanly without staining the vinyl or whatever, I need to take these slip nuts off and separate the carpet from the vinyl piece. Once I do that, then I don't need to worry about stainage or overspill. But yeah, so I'm going to pop all of these off and we'll take a look at just the carpet piece. Oh, I guess I should show you, in case you're wondering how I'm getting these slip nuts off. And it's a pretty simple process. I have a little angled mechanics pick. What I'm doing is I'm going around on each quadrant of the slip nut and slipping the pick in underneath and just folding up one side of it and then coming around the other side and doing the same thing. And if you do this all the way around, it loosens it up enough to where you can see it's already starting to spin. So let me just slip this out. See, it's already coming up. And it's pretty simple. And then I also use one of my panel trim tools and just give it a little bump. See? Easy peasy. All right, got another half dozen to do, I think. Or do I? No, 3 more to go and then we'll take it off. Cool. All right, now that all of the fasteners are taken off, it should just be a matter of lifting this thing up and taking this off. And there you go. Yeah, so this is very gross. So I'm going to clean all of this up, obviously. I've already cleaned up the vinyl as good as I can. Like that's a permanent stain there. I think I can try again, but all in all, the color looks good. A lot of stuff getting beat up here. I think this has a lot to do with them shoving cargo in the back, or this could be caused by the windscreen as well. All right, I got this set up right here in my garage. It's very well protected, enough coverage for the overspray. I'm just using a little spray bottle with some hot water and the dye. The carpet's already been cleaned. Let's see what it's gonna look like. All right, I got about 15 ounces of hot water, about 150 degrees. I didn't make it perfect, but I did 4 ounces, so this should give me a nice color. And just doing a little sample here, and I'm just gonna give it some love. All right, I'm gonna keep doing that. I have a little scrubber to get the dye into the fabric, and then I'll come back and show you what I got. The first and hopefully the last dyeing I'll have to do on this piece here. It looks pretty good. It's a slight discoloration along the edge. It just could be the lighting. But I want to go a little bit darker, right? I mean, that's my baseline, I think, the black plastic. I think I can get it there. I just have to use a more potent concentration of the dye and less water. I'm gonna let that dry for about 20 minutes, then I'm gonna come back and rinse it off and see what it looks like. All right, I've come up with a way to mask this off. It's pretty straightforward. We're gonna be using a pre-taped film dispenser and just tape all this off. And let's take a look at, see what it's gonna look like when it's on. All right, and there we go. So now you can just, now that it's taped, you can just drape this over the area that you don't want to dye. And then you're good. It's like the thing is not sticking very well. All right, we're gonna cover this. We'll take a look at it. Okay, I'm ready to dye all of the small pieces over here. So I decided to get a tub going with a bunch of the RIT dye, and I went even further and actually read the instructions with the help of Yogi Mama, since I don't know how to read. And if you add salt and a little bit of laundry or a dish detergent to the mix, it helps with the color stay, or it helps keep the color dark. And then you also do this. After it's been soaking for a while, use this color stay dye fixative on top of it. So you take it out of the water, spray that on there, let it sit, and then rinse it off. And that should keep the color from rinsing out as much. We'll see. All right, we're just gonna set this in here. Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. It's gonna look good. And we'll let those sit for a while.
20 minutes at least, right?
Yeah, I should be using gloves on this, but oh well. So 6 gallons, I think, is the magic number, Yogi Mama.
Yeah.
To get all of this in here soaking. All right, this is the first pass. And if teal green was, or emerald green was the color I was going for, then I would certainly be ready. But it wasn't, it's black. So I think I need to go a little bit darker. So I followed the instructions. The instructions aren't quite right for black. I think black, you gotta be way more aggressive. So that's what I'm gonna do. Time to get aggressive. Wow, what a difference. All right, so I think the final mix is a whole lot more dye than what the instructions say, but the trick is the color stay. I poured it directly into the water, stirred it up, dropped them back in there, and look at the result. All right, we are so close. The color is just about right, but that is still too green for my taste. So I'm gonna go a little bit more intense and just coat them in a solid black color with very little water. We'll give that a go and see what happens. All right, I've sprayed it on twice, and it's been sitting for about 30 minutes, and I think it looks really good, man. But the true test is gonna be after I rinse it. So I'm gonna do one of the smaller panels there and see what it looks like after I clear out all the excess dye. All right, I think I've got the process down pat now. You can see that they're nice and black. They look really good under this light, and mainly because I haven't rinsed them yet, but I did a couple of things. So I'm still using the standard RIT dye, but in a much more concentrated manner because it is black. And then to address the colors bleeding through, which in this case is gray and it's turning it green, they recommend using this back to black dye kit, and it's supposed to assist with faded colors. So it comes with a super black dye as well as the color stay. So maybe this is RIT's way of saying, yes, we know the normal black dye isn't all that great for this type of fabric, so we're gonna make and sell something even darker. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's working. So I think I have a process. I'm gonna start with a base coat of that, let it set up, and then finish it with the back to black. All right, cool. So as part of getting this interior back together, I need to resolve some of the broken plastic pieces, one of which is this eyesore here, which contains the front and the rear engine hatch. And if you had a more specced out vehicle, then of course you would have seat memory in here as well. So I went ahead and reached out to Porsche and got my hands on another one, which is in that box. So we're gonna replace this thing and make it look OEM. Here we go. And there, oh man, so much nicer. I really hate it when stuff breaks and nobody ever does anything about it. It looks tacky. So I got that taken care of. I just need to screw in a couple of screws, and then we're good with this side. It makes the other side look a little janky, but it's not broken, so I'm not gonna fix it. But that looks so much better. Here's the old one here. And you can see years and years of neglect and just use, you know, daily use. But sitting in the sun and all of that, yeah, that'll do it. But that looks really good, man. All right, check that one off. All right, moving on to the front. I mentioned earlier in the video that I replaced this plastic cowl, if you will. And speaking of cowl, I did buy a replacement for that, so I'll be covering that as well. The reason why I bought it, even though it looks super clean and new, is because I cleaned it and made it look new. But the mount points, a couple of them are broken off. Again, who knows why people do what they do. But anyway, so I replaced this piece. I showed you the price, which is not bad. And by the way, again, using my tax code, that piece, that sill there was $239. Porsche price, I paid $189. So, I mean, that's a pretty good discount. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about around OEM Porsche prices, yes, do yourself a favor, get yourself a tax ID. I don't care how you do it. I'm not a tax person, figure it out. But if you can do that and you register with Porsche, they're going to give you Porsche mechanic prices or Porsche independent mechanic prices or something like that, because I'm getting a really good discount and they deliver for no extra cost. All right, I'm going to put those new fasteners in. Oh, and the nut were those little things there, believe it or not, from Porsche. They're $3.28 each. I got them for $2.62. I don't see $2.62 of value, but it certainly looks better than that. I found out that I had two somewhere in here, but they're all mangled up and chewed, so I'm going to replace them all. That's why I bought them. And yeah, I'm going to make this car look as new as possible. I mean, except for that part. But hey, I'm wrapping it, so who cares? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I got them all in, no problem. They look really nice, but they get mangled really easy. And that's probably why they look like this after a while. But then, how fragile that is. But anyway, I ended up scratching it, and then me demonstrating to you where I scratched it some more, just in case you didn't see it. Wow, okay. Oh, and also, yes, I did get LED replacement lights. I got LED for the dome light inside as well as the doors themselves. The only thing I did not get LED for is the glove box. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. But I think it looks a lot better. It modernizes it a little bit. And yes, I'm going to take care of those headlights. They're coming. And, the engine bay, I also put an LED light in there. And that makes a big difference because at night with no lighting, it illuminates that engine bay enough for you to figure out where the dipstick is. All right, we're back at putting in the kill mat in. So I'm going to pick it up right where I left off. All right, I've got it in there. I'm kind of just doing a dry fit right now. I don't think I cleaned enough. I'm going to clean a bit further that way. But I want it to get it in there just to see how it's going to fit. And I advise you guys using gloves in here. A lot of little sharp edges. Be sure to wear your gloves. I'm going to get it up in this area. And again, it's to absorb the vibration, not to silence everything. And I got my little roller here, which is designed for that. And it'll get all the air bubbles out. All right, let me get my gloves on and clean that up a little bit, and we'll knock it out. All right, now that it's on there and stuck, this roller just helps keep it, make sure that everything is sticking onto the metal and that there's no air pockets. I can tell you, acoustically, it already sounds different back there. And then once you put the speaker box, it's really going to help for the audio as well. So let's keep going. All right, I got the speaker box back in. I'm getting ready to just put it all back together now. I'm going to frame it all in. I got this little frame to put in. And then I can use some adhesive to get that little sound deadener, moisture barrier back up here. And then we're good to go to get the door card back on. Wow, it's only been a year. Part of getting this moisture barrier back in is I gotta take this airbag out. I've done it before and I've warned before, and I'm gonna warn you guys watching this video that it's very important that before you touch any of the airbags or the sensors to the airbags, that you disconnect the battery and you wait 15, 20 minutes. So what I've been doing is I disconnected the battery and then I did another task. I'm taking the cowl off over there to get that one replaced. And so now that it's been 10 minutes, I've disconnected it and I can freely take this out and put this behind it. So let's get started. All right, I'm using some weather stripping adhesive made by Permatex. It should do the job. I'm also going to use that on repairing this weather strip on the other side. It came off the glass. I'll clean the glass and then stick it back on and we should be fine. And then I've got a replacement rubber weather strip here that's going to go onto this one. So a lot of good positive things happening to this car. So the idea here is to put the adhesive on both sides. The instructions say to put them on both sides and to wait about 10 minutes so that the compounds inside there can evaporate and do their thing. It's gonna get a little sticky, but I have a feeling this is gonna work out just fine. I gotta snake a few cables in, get the wires back through, but after that, it should be straightforward, I hope. Famous last words. Let's see. All right, vapor barrier back on. The adhesive is working just fine. It's sticking really well, actually. I don't want to be under there. And I got the cables and stuff snaked through. It looks good. I just got to get this frame on here to hold the speaker in place. But, you know, overall, looks really good. That adhesive worked perfectly. All right, passenger door card installed. I still got a little bit more coloring to do on the tops of the carpet, but I think it's gonna look really good. I'm gonna put the other door card on and we'll take a final look at the black carpeting and the gray contrast, put it all together. Well, good news on the driver's side. It looks like there's already sound deadening in there. So that's a victory for me, man. Now I can just get the door on and not have to worry about re-gluing any of this. And well, I mean, I'm gonna have to fix some of it, but yay. So this dang weather stripping here is giving me trouble since the day I bought the car, and now it's time to address it. I've used this before on the moisture barrier on the passenger side, and it worked out great. So I'm gonna do it here as well. This is why I bought it, actually. I'm not gonna need a whole lot, but I need to glue up both sides, and there will be excess. So I'm gonna mask some things off to make sure I don't make a tremendous mess here. And then I got to put some on the strip as well. All right, as I suspect a little bit, it's going to creep out, but I got my towel here with a little bit of rubbing alcohol to help kind of control it, and it's not doing a great job, but it'll come right off in a few minutes. All right, see, it's coming off. All right. Oh man, I tell you, the struggle is real when you're trying to dye fabric black, regardless of what color it is. You know, this color was the silver or whatever it's called, but going from there to green or to black is apparently the first stop is green and then the next stop is black. But some of these look pretty good, not quite as green. The back in black works well. And I let it set up all night. I didn't dry it or rinse it or anything overnight. So it had a good 15 hours to sit on there and it was still pretty wet. So I think that's really good, a good result. And here's the other one over here that looks just a little bit on the green tinty side. Not as bad as it was before. Now, mind you, this thing is still kind of drying. So I'm gonna go one more time to try to get it to that color. So that's why I'm getting very aggressive on the color, because I have to match it close enough to that color. See? So you got that color and you got that color. In the sun, you'll notice it, right? Because it's gonna be right there. The half goes from right about there to there. So yeah, you might notice it. And this here, by the way, also needs to be dyed. I'm trying to perfect the process before I go all out on the doors and the rear seat, figure out what it's gonna take and then apply it. So I couldn't hold my excitement back any longer. I went with almost a pure back to black on the door card as opposed to doing the regular black dye and then following it up with a back to black. I'm like, let me just see if I can skip some steps here and get straight to it and check it out. I mean, that looks really good. The light is brightening it up. My lens is doing it as well. It looks a little bit on the slate gray, darker gray, but in my shop, it's black. But I'm gonna keep dyeing it until I get the color that I want. All right, I just wanted to take a moment and pause and appreciate the work that I did here. It was a lot of work, man. I would say off and on about 4 to 5 days of staining it, testing it, rinsing it, seeing the results, trying different blends, different types of dyes to finally come out with something like this. It's not perfect, okay? There's some light areas here at the bottom and a little bit of a light streak right there, but easily fixable. I can use a foam paintbrush or something and just get in there and dab it. But I think it looks good. I think when it blends in with the carpeting and it comes up, it's gonna look right. And I love it. Man, that was a lot of work. But anyway, I wanted to sit here and kind of marvel in it because it looks really good. All right, back to scrubbing it. I'm having to use a toothbrush, like that one down there, to get right along the edge. I can't really use the big bristle brush guy because that's how I ended up brushing or scrubbing the dye off there on the edge, was by using that thing, and it got too close. So I'm thinking the dye hasn't quite set up. It doesn't stain your hands when you touch it, but I think I'm gonna have to put, I don't know, a couple more color stay on it to just hold it. Okay, I'm gonna start cleaning this up. I'm gonna steam it first, I think, and then I'm gonna use the carpet cleaner concoction to get all the dirt up along with my little spot scrubber here. We should be able to knock it out. Both sides clean, the middle's clean, the sides on this side are clean. I got very lucky with getting a lot of the rust stains off on this side. Not quite as lucky there, but I did get everything. Now I'm gonna let it dry for, I don't know, a day. Then I'll come back and put the first layer of dye. And I'm gonna have to go slow because the underside of this thing is got foam underneath, right? So what you don't want to do is soak this thing with dye because then it will never dry. Soak this thing with dye because it'll never dry. That's right. That's exactly right.
Action.
All right, so this is the peak of this project right here, is to get this thing taken care of. I decided to use one of these sprayers for, the Roundup poison sprayers. Completely clean. I've got my dye in here.
So I figured it would cover the most area as quickly as possible. The water is heated to about 170 degrees. I don't have it covered yet because it's going to build pressure because it's hot. So let me go ahead and knock this out. It's a little bit of wind. So Yogi Mama, you're going to be on this side so you don't get sprayed. If you come on this side, you're going to get sprayed. And I'm going to come at this angle. Okay?
All right.
So you may want to be over there.
Oh, look, a ladybug landed on me.
Did it? Gets good luck.
Right there.
Close this up. All right, get on that side. Just don't get shot.
So what is it that you're doing now?
Well, this is kind of pushing it into the fabric, you know, making sure that both directions of the fabric is covered, right? So this is kind of just working it in.
Okay. Think you'll get more even coverage that way?
All right, everything's dry the next day. I rinsed I rinsed this portion down. You can see the lightness difference between here and here because the dye is still sitting in here. It's dry, but I can't leave it because it will leave dye residue behind, just like it's leaving it on my hand, see? So, let's see if I can wipe my hands on it and it comes right off. I don't have a choice. I have to rinse it. I've commented already that the backs of these things are foam, and you can see it's been soaked before from the previous owner from the rain. But this is a different reason. I don't know. I'm a little nervous, but I got to do it. It looks good though, as is. Think about it. This is the faux back seat. No one's really going to see it, but I'll know. So I need this area blackened, and then this down here to match all of this. But might as well do the rest. All right, I'm gonna rinse and see what happens.
All right, so here's my final verdict on using the RIT dye. I don't believe that it's ideal for automotive use. The fabric that's in this car is pretty standard, it's nothing special, it's rayon. But as you can tell, there's still some spots where it just didn't adhere right, and the touch-up really didn't look all that great. This is a work in progress. Stay tuned. I'm going to be trying different dyeing techniques, and if you have any recommendations, be sure to leave a comment below and let me know what you think, and let me know who you recommend. Thanks for watching Yogi's Garage. We'll see you next time.